can I have like a dark woke opinion for a second? Can we do that? I would consider myself one of the, no? All right, well, in a dark woke fashion, I ignored your input and I'm going to continue anyway. I wasn't really, I don't need your approval. As sort of one of the, I guess, like, I've been a proponent for this line of thinking for a while. I see some drama brewing. I guess I just want to have a position on it so that maybe other people can agree with me on this, I guess. Remember Hunter Schafer? She's the actress. Apparently a lot of you learned about her existence through me, which is insane to me, but I guess not all of you are really keyed in on anything. You just sort of like live under a rock and watch my streams. That's cool. Okay, so here's a feature of Schaefer that most people are aware of. If you can, if you're not already aware. She's quite attractive. Get it? Got it? Get over it. Okay. So the number one thing that reactionaries go after trans women for, and I'm talking mostly about trans women here, because the way like beauty standards work and the expectations that we hold women to, but the main thing that people go after trans women for is being ugly. Now, are trans women ugly? Well, I imagine some are, in the same way that like some of any group can be ugly. Are they ugly generally? I feel like there's probably a pretty ordinary distribution. Not really getting stunned by cisgender people when I go out there. So it's sort of an unfair, it's an unfair standard to place on people is what I'm getting at, basically. It's not like a logical argument. And you can attack that from a rational position of like, well, what does the appearance of transgender people have to do with their validity? Which is a perfectly logical rebuttal. Now, is it effective? It really hasn't seemed to have been that much, because logic doesn't seem to be like the overriding. That's not the impulse people are following along when they're making transphobic judgments. Anyway, this popped off, so I wanted to talk about it. This individual said, no one can convince me this dude passes. And it's a TERF who looks like this. With the TERF bangs! So, an insane position to hold. And, oh, see, you're all saying it. I'm not saying anything. I'm not saying anything. You all said it. It's always like this, isn't it? Ain't it? Dissecting gender ideology, one predictable surgical nightmare at a time. Phenomenal. Great stuff. So you can guess what people hit her with, right? One of these people are trans, guess which one? And we have this sort of, I'm not going to say anything, okay? I respect all women. You're not going to catch me saying anything negative about a woman, okay? I'm not that kind of dark woke. And of course you have Hunter Schafer. So what am I doing here? Like, what's the point that I'm making? Well, the point that I'm making is this one. I go back one more tweet. Wokely, women who are ugly look trans. Now we have the discourse, okay? Now we have the discourse. There we go. Because we have kind of like the left-leaning, we have the counter thesis ideologically from the left, which is, how do you attack this position from this individual, right? So you can do it like the logical way of like, well, hold on a second. First of all, obviously Hunter Schafer passes, but that's not really material. What we're really talking about is her validity as a transgender woman, and whether or not you pass is actually irrelevant to whether or not your identity is valid, There are transgender women who never take HRT or get SRS or anything. There are, trans women who don't transition in any capacity, but it's their identity that matters. And you'll find that while all of these things that I've stated are objectively true, none of them matter that much when you're talking to people like this. You know what I mean? There's a reason why, like, quote tweeting this, you could get, like, which do you think is going to get more attention if you're quote tweeting this, okay? Bitch, you nasty, she stunts on you, she's your toilet or something. Or like, hey, Hunter Schafer does pass, but that's not valid to the legitimacy of her identity. Which do you think would? Yeah, right. You understand. You get the point. Yeah, it's not you understand. I do mean it when I say that, like, we live in a mean world, and I think it's important to be like, more vindictive, because this attitude right here, unfortunately, doesn't really win anyone over. I'm really sorry. For one, like, so this argument is valid, it's just not effective, because people like being on the side of the bully when the people that are being bullied absolutely deserve it. This woman deserves to be bullied. The question is, how do you do it, right? People like vindictiveness. They like being mean. People even default to it. I would say that in times of in times of trouble, vindictiveness is like a healing. It's like a salve for the soul. The ability to find justified targets for it is like literally like a mental health thing, right? To find an externalized enemy, you know? The issue is like, at the end of the day, there are a lot of people on the right who are hideously ugly. And being hideously ugly doesn't make you a bad person. But I think you should be able to make fun of a Nazi for being hideously ugly. You know? I think you can hold these positions simultaneously, and even though they contradict logically, they don't contradict ideologically. I think you can say, you busted, you nasty, long ass face, looking like an anteater, you toilet. She shit in the mother toilet, you are the toilet, or something. I think you can do that and then step back and say, I don't think that being ugly makes you a morally bad person. I'm just attacking her for being ugly. I genuinely don't think there's an issue with this. I really do. Because this, okay, maybe I feel like I'm going crazy just turning this over in my mind, because like I know that I've been on both sides of this at different points. Because like obviously, logically, whether or not you pass is not relevant to the legitimacy of a person being transgender. Okay? We're storing that one and we're putting it in the box, right? But at the same time, can't you, because I feel like this is very human, can't you make fun of somebody on the right for being ugly as shit, and you have a friend who's pretty ugly, and then you feel literally no negativity towards them? I feel like that's normal, right? Like, it's not logical. In reality, you're just looking for acceptable targets for vindictiveness. But I don't genuinely believe that if you choose a subject to be mean towards a bad person over, that necessarily means you have a consistent, uniformly negative position on that thing all across the board, right? Basically, I'm saying we should call people on the right ugly more often, and I'm glad we're doing it more, and I think we should do it even more. And I feel like one of the major reasons why people have a difficult time mobilizing on the left is because even obvious, easy slam dunks like this get woke scolded. You know? Like, really? We're way too nice, basically. It's not necessarily that we're way too nice. It's like, I don't think we do a little misogyny as a treat. But like, yeah, we need to dial it back a bit, man. We're too performatively self-policing on this. Yeah. We're not getting out of this without calling people on the right stupid, ugly retards. I'm sorry, we're literally just not. We're not getting out of this, okay? Even the political cartoons from like the 1910s and 20s during the first big wave of American unionization depicted wealthy people as fat and ugly. I'm sorry, is it problematic? Yes. We live in a problematic time. I guess what I'm saying is I'm like abandoning the specific ideological purity implied by, well, you can't make fun of this or that. That would imply the negativity of those traits to, well, if it makes them feel bad and it's funny, it's good. You know, all the fuss about the Republican makeup thing? Have you seen the virality of that? Where Nancy Mace was crashing the fuck out on Twitter over the Republican makeup bit, where that one viral the TikTok post that was basically saying like Republican women are busted ass toilets. You know what I'm talking about? From Matt. Phenomenal image, by the way. This is infuriated a lot of people. It's very, very good, you know? But you could be woke about this, right? You could be like, well, hold on. Are you suggesting that there's something morally wrong with applying your makeup in this way? I personally know people who've applied their makeup in this way who aren't Republicans. And even then, why are we attacking Republicans for an aesthetic thing rather than the underlying immorality of their positions? And it's like, dude, shut up. Just call them f***ing ugly. Who's the person in front of you? This is a TikTok creator who's making fun of Republicans by doing a bad job with her makeup in a very telling way. Yes, there is something morally wrong with that makeup. Well, you know, the left can mock Republican makeup all they want. At least we still know what a woman is. Hold the line. Well, I disagree with Nancy Mace's argument that trans people are subhuman and Sarah McBride is a man. I do think it's a bit inappropriate that our arguments against Republican women stem from an attack on their makeup. Women are held to unfair beauty standards enough as it is, and frankly, it just seems to me like we're weaponizing misogyny against... Shut up, man! Bro, the Hitler Party won! Last election! We're on the f***ing precipice! You're on the cliff right now! Call them a retard. You're not gonna bring back kindness by appealing to it in this way. You know? You get what I mean, right? 250,000 likes on this. Wouldn't it be better if we had a more ideologically pure and consistent attack? Rather than going after her appearance and the fact she looks like a nightmare creature. Jesus Christ. Rather than going after her appearance, wouldn't it be better to target her for the immorality of her positions? I just think we have to be a little bit more concerned about what actually lands with people. If you run this back far enough, eventually, like, it's like you can't call Donald Trump dumb because that's marginalizing to people with lower IQs, which they can't help. The problem with Donald Trump isn't that he's dumb. The problem is that he's evil. Like, you can't call people evil. If you call people, if the evil is a product of your environmental circumstances. This is bigoted against people who had bad fathers and upbringings. Do you know how much privilege there is in having parents who love you, unlike Donald Trump? Get me out of here. Get me out of here. You can't say Elon Musk has a broken dick. I know a guy who has a broken dick, and it brings him a lot of pain and suffering. Why would you... Let me out. Let me out. I guess the thing that fucks me up is that, okay, I'm trying to think of how edgy I want to be with this. I'll be edgy with it. I don't really give a shit. I have positive poll numbers with transgender women, I think, so I can burn a little bit of good faith. Imagine I was a busted ass trans woman, okay? Not to like diminish or demean or whatever. This isn't selling femme right now. I'm just saying it. Let's just say I transitioned 8 seconds ago. Okay? I'm aware of the fact that I don't look like a woman, and I'm sensitive about it. Now, I have to pick an ally, all right? I have to pick somebody who's going to defend me. And I'm not going to lie. I actually think this person who's making fun of the appearance of the TERF would be a better and more reliable ally than this person. The person responding by saying that it's problematic to define a trans woman's validity by her appearance via implication of insulting the appearance of a TERF. I think this person is more likely to be a fair weather friend, more concerned with ideological purity and gatekeeping than they are with the thing that actually would make a difference to the quality of my life, which is us winning. That's the thing. Like, you want like the clocky trans women to be safe. That's great. Me too. Okay? So the number one priority of winning that fight is like winning that fight. You know what I mean? And honest to God, I know a lot of people, cis and trans, who like this sentiment, who are like, hey, listen, I don't think that passing defines your validity as a trans person. That being said, Schaefer is shitting in the mother and the TERF looks busted horse face or something to that effect. I know a lot of people who are like that, and I think that's a very human position. I think that's like an inconsistency that if you recognize it, it doesn't actually feel like it's that hypocritical because you can easily just talk through the, yeah, obviously I hate her, so I'll say mean things about her, but that doesn't mean I think that Hunter Schafer wouldn't be a trans woman if she didn't look the way that she looks, which is very feminine. Oh my God, thank you for this, Vaush. As a trans woman, I've never felt comfortable being friends with people who won't be real with me. Every day I wonder if I'm passable, and I can't rely on woke friends because they'll always say yes. I know exactly what you mean. It's one of the reasons that I got really popular with trans women, because I'm one of the only very obviously pro-trans community holders on the internet that isn't a hug box. Literally, like from day one, that was what I always got. It was like, okay, you're pro-trans, great, but you're also not like, you know, insincerely hugboxy about it. You're not, you know, and this is one of the reasons why slash LGBT does well. TTTT, you know, the 4chan, the one, that's where all the trans women go when they want to be like, I'm 19, is it over? I'm Han maxing, I look like a brick, I'll never pass. And they post a picture that's a zoomed in photo of like 1 millimeter of bone right here or something. You know, that's that community. And the reason they're like that is because they want to break from hyper inclusive, hyper woke, hyper familiar, hyper friendly spaces that infantilize you, like basically every pro trans subreddit in existence, you know, where they're all like nya nya cat girl or something. And you'll have people who look like, well, like me, posting and saying like, do I pass? And the comments will be like, yes, you do, queen. And it's like, you can, it's the dialectic again. You create a hug box so people look for, you know, anything that isn't a hug box, and they find like essentially like femcel, incel, whatever spaces that denigrate you and make you feel like shit, but it's not a hug box. What's a hug box? A community that's overly performatively, insincerely kind to each other. So you can't really like get a read on them. Good friends will tell you the truth. Good communities will too. And I don't bullshit you guys unless it's funny, but then I walk it back. You know where I'm at? This is a dark woke thing, functionally. But like, I don't know. I remember this happened a little while ago because Stacy Cat, that's her name, right? I met her in DC back in the summer. It's Stacy Cat, right? Am I getting the name, or is it Stacy K? Am I mixing? Stacy K, okay, not Cat. Let me find what I was looking for here. Nya? That's pretty true. Here we go. Stacy K. Stacy K is a very pretty lady. You might have heard the rumors. And she's doing the same thing. Oh, Stacy K's trans, by the way. Probably wouldn't have guessed unless I told you. Stacy K was stunting on some hoes a while back. Got like 300,000 likes for it. And hold on a second. Let me see if I can find that. The host, the aforementioned host stunting tweet. It was like a week ago. Here we go. It was when that Josh Sider guy, who may or may not have killed himself, he was that right-wing dipshit who was like, I'm a trans woman. Look at me. I'm a trans woman, and I'm valid. And he was like doing the right-wing such and such. You know? Wait, this guy died? Maybe. He's faked his own death before. Anyway, Stacy K quote tweeted and said, people can tell the difference between trans women and cross-dressing men. And okay, we get it. You slay. Thank you. But like also 300,000 likes. People like it, man. Nobody's going to go out here with the like, okay, Josh Sider, there are trans women who look like you, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I take issue with your offensive language and the insincerity with which you identify as a trans woman. And it's just like, if you're coming at it that way, and I got to ask, I got to know, what would you have done in response to Steven Crowder back when he was doing this like fake trans grift every other week? When he was like, for this video, I'm a trans woman. I'm wearing a dress. And since the validity of a trans woman is based on my identity, you can't tell me that I'm wrong. And it's like, the obvious answer is, you're wrong because eat shit, f you. But I literally saw lefties back in 2019, 2020, 2021 being like, okay, Crowder, well, if you were being sincere, I would validate you. And it's like, just call him a retard. Just put the retard in the bag and move along. You don't need to play into this. You're not going to catch them on their hypocrisy. And they're going to accuse you of hypocrisy no matter how consistent you are. you know? The insincerely woking you, you know? Apparently this is a more effective rebuttal, which, you know, to be fair, this rebuttal would work on me in a variety of contexts. Not to disclose my weaknesses or something, but, you know. You need to actually believe things to be hypocritical. Yeah, which they, you know, they struggle with a little bit. I think the problem people have is that you need to know someone's a good ally to support the dissing. Okay, okay, again, I'm not trans, despite what a lot of people have claimed. So I understand that this subject isn't really picking at like an insecurity of mine. And if it is, I get it, okay? I get it. Not saying that's your fault, you know? However, my read on this is not this person thinks that ugly trans women are invalid. I would never assume that if I saw this. Like, seeing this, all I'm thinking is, oh, you're stunting on the hoe shit toilet. I would never look at this and go, oh, this person's like a bigot, but they just think Hunter Schafer is pretty. This is a pro-trans person, like a supportive and non-transphobic person, who's just being aggro. Yeah, it's f you with more words and more pictures. Ah, well, I think I've made the point. Is the person even talking about ugliness or just clockiness? One of these people are trans, guess which one? The point that's being made here, in addition to the fact that Hunter Schafer mugs the ever-loving f out of this lady, is that whatever standards you apply to trans women in order to, like, attack them for not passing or gatekeep them from bathrooms, it's gonna hit you more than it's gonna hit Hunter Schafer. This literally just happened, didn't it? There was a video of cops being called on a black woman who was using a woman's restroom who was cisgender, but they called the cops in and accused her of being a man. Again, like, not to oversell the point, you understand it perfectly, you're all fully aware, but if you had to call the cops in on the fake woman who was in the woman's restroom and the cops came and saw these two at the sinks, who do you think the cops would ask questions of first? It's a multi-pronged attack. You're pointing out that it's a bad system of judgment. You're arguing that you're delusional for saying that Hunter Schafer doesn't pass, and also you're saying your toilet she mother. It's phenomenal. We need to be meaner. I would trust a leftist who was down with being mean as more than a leftist whose biggest pop-off tweets were tone policing pro-trans advocacy. I'll tell you that much. I'd much rather take the mean dark woke types than the ones who are going to be like chastising me for being mean to bad people. This is not a tone policing era, okay? We're not in that moment. Isn't this the same with race-based jokes? Depends on the type of race joke. If you wanna say in so many words that a black Nazi is gonna have everyone on their side turn their back on them because they're black, and go for it. Don't people do that shit with Fuentes all the time? Nick Fuentes? Mexican Fuentes? Oh, look at that right-winger. He's black. Look at that right-winger. Candace Owens, black woman. Pick me, token. Don't you already do that? You gonna tell me that's wrong? You get the point. Can somebody find me that video, by the way? The video of the police being called into the bathroom, because I wanted to show that, but I couldn't find it. Wasn't there a post of a TERF group on Facebook posting in trans groups pretending to be saying how good their transition is, and someone quote tweeted saying how they'd kill themselves if their pics got posted on TTTT recently? It's a very TTTT is significantly meaner than like any other forum I've ever seen. I've literally seen threads from there where they're investigating me, so they've got a lot of free time on their hands. None of those motherfuckers are employed.
They came in here in the girls' restroom because I'm a girl and they didn't think I was a girl, so they tried to come take me away because I'm a girl.
Oh, well, that was great. That was shorter than I remember it being. Was that the full video? I think it was. It might have been short and sweet. Yeah, it kind of hits the point. And black. Oh yeah. Oh, black women are 100% going to get the worst end of the like reflexive reporting. You know. And God, the butches. Won't anyone say anything about the butches? The poor butches. I guess I just don't want people to like, I'm kind of paraphrasing an argument that I had, not an argument, a conversation I had, or maybe a conversation that I saw on Twitter recently on the subject, which is like, don't let the caricaturization of trans women from the right push you into a position where you make it impossible for you to ever be mean or vindictive towards transphobes. because then you're giving them that ammunition, basically. Like when somebody, like if a person's posting shit like this and they're like, I'm a trans woman because I say so, and it's some right winger doing a riff, you don't have to condition your extremely mean responses with, just to let you know it's not actually invalid for a woman to look this way, because you can hold that position and then also just really rip into him. You can do that. It's fine. We're going to need to be a lot more vindictive. A lot more vindictive. You're walking... I'm not walking on eggshells. I'm just trying to frame a point. Can we admit he ate? Is it okay to be misogynistic towards J.K. Rowling? If you're funny with it, sure. I still can't... I might still be, like, reflexively... I might be, like, you know, going after people a little bit in like, an echo of the arguments I had when I was sexist to J.K. Rowling and there were people on the left, like Contra or whatever, who were like, aren't we validating this virulent transphobe hate leader's position that trans people and their allies are misogynistic by making a mild misogynistic joke at her expense? And it's like, no, you're actually genuinely not. She's literally allied with the far right everywhere. She got a shout out from Putin over being anti-trans. Are you really going to play into her bullshit by validating her position from the left? By arguing that there's any legitimacy to it? That was such a painful time. Yeah, thank God I've grown out of it. Well, I haven't changed at all. Everyone else did. Maybe because the far right won. Trump won, liberals. Get over it. We can be misogynistic now. The joke was shit. It wasn't meant to be. It was just a random tweet. It wasn't meant to be like the fucking position I'm staking my life on. It was a random tweet. It's like, oh, it wasn't a funny joke. It wasn't supposed to get any attention. It was literally a shut up woman joke. Like it was, I didn't deliver it to her in a envelope. It was a tweet. Should have wrote white woman instead, unironically.